Hey, this is Blake Bettner, the managing editor here at Worn & Wound. Today, we're going to talk about the Rolex Explorer, reference 124270. I think that's right. The Explorer is a watch that we all know, maybe love, maybe hate. Regardless of your feelings on Rolex, this is usually a watch that people have a soft spot for, and for good reason. There's of course a lot of history associated with this watch, but put all that aside, and this is a watch that holds its own pretty well on just the charm of it. So with this new reference, it's going back to its new, old size of 36 millimeters, and that's a good thing. Now to be clear, I never really had a problem with the 39 millimeter Explorer. This is the reference 214270, but this watch has a lot of dial, and it really showed at that size. Of course, this will come down to personal preference. To me, the 36 millimeter Explorer just feels right though. Now what makes this particular reference so great, in my opinion, is the move to a 19 millimeter lug span. So while the case is back to its 36 millimeter Explorer, the ones from the 90s and earlier had a 20 millimeter span, and to me that kind of boxed the case in a little bit much. This kind of opens it up. It feels like a lot more natural transition from the case to the lug to the bracelet, which tapers from 19 millimeters all the way down to 14 millimeters. What you can't see, however, is the new movement. The Explorer moves to the new 3230 that we first saw released in the dateless Submariner last year. They moved into the 41 millimeter case. We won't go there today. So it's got a host of improvements as you'd expect, but it's not all sunshine. There are a few drawbacks that come with this movement. On the bright side, the 3230 does get the chronology escapement, so it's more efficient. It gets a friction fit balance staff, the Paraflex shock absorber. It's less susceptible to magnetism than ever before. Maybe best of all, it's got the 70-hour power reserve, right? In practice, however, it's just as accurate as the outgoing caliber. They're both superlative chronometers, as is labeled on the dial. And servicing may prove more difficult with the new 3230 here, due to the way that Rolexes have designed certain components of this movement. If anything goes wrong, they may require full-on replacement rather than just being fixed by a local watchmaker down the line. Jury's still out though. Overall, this is a very robust movement, exceedingly accurate. It's been well within 2 seconds a day since I've had it, so nothing really to complain about there. So that's what the new Explorer literally is. In practice though, there's a lot more to talk about, and this is a watch that's often touted as the ultimate go anywhere, do anything watch, and it's certainly capable. But why? Well, there's a lot of built-in history and context with this watch, of course. Everest, the exploring, it's the Explorer, right? So I have no doubt that this watch is exactly as capable as Rolex claim it is, but I'm not really in a position to test those limits like most of us, I assume. I mean, I'm reasonably active, I enjoy hiking, but the fact of the matter is I try to avoid pretty extreme situations, so there has to be something more here, and there is. Put simply, this is an easy watch to bond with. It's an easy watch to wear, it's an easy watch to use. When you have all those things, it's a watch you're going to find yourself creating a lot more memories in, and that's a good thing in my book. Now, I love a good vintage Explorer as much as any of us do. There's a lot of personality there, there's a lot of charm, there's a lot of character. All the things that we love about vintage watches are there. But this watch offers you an opportunity to be creating those memories and things that you'll take with you in real time. And I think we should be thinking about modern watches more often in that kind of a context. This is a watch that almost never feels out of place. It's easy to wear, and as we've said many times, it's pretty comfortable on the wrist as well. It's not going to make itself known or be identifiable from across the room, maybe something like a Submariner or a Daytona, and I think that's a good thing. It's always going to go with what you're wearing, and it's going to look pretty good doing it. Really, this is a good looking watch. For me, that's the fun of wearing it. It fits with my toned down style. As far as Rolexes go, this one is pretty much under the radar, and I enjoy that aspect of it. So as much as I love this case size, and indeed the 19 millimeter lug span, it does present one issue. I love changing around straps. We've got plenty of Seikos, Sins, you name it, they get all manner of straps, NATOs, leathers, rubbers. I love it, and that's part of the fun of collecting. The Explorer has traditionally been what you'd call a strap monster. It looks pretty good on whatever strap you're going to throw on there. This new reference Explorer has an end link design that fits into the case with a male and female end, so when you remove the end link there, you see some of the slots in the case. So if you're going to put a NATO on there or a leather strap, you might see some of that on the wrist, which, I'm not going to lie, is not pleasant. Thankfully, the Oyster bracelet is pretty good, so it might not bother you, but if you're a person that likes to play around with straps, it's something you should be aware of. One other niggle I have with the bracelet is the lack of a glide lock clasp. The glide lock clasp is excellent on the Submariner, and this is a professional model from Rolex. Why it's not there, I'm not sure, but I kind of wish it was. Overall, not a huge deal. There is a 5mm extension that you can pull out of the bracelet, so in a pinch, It does work, but it's not nearly as elegant as the Glide Lock. And that is the new Rolex Explorer, reference 124270. It's back to its old size, it's as handsome as ever, and it's as practical as ever. It's everything that we love about Rolex, and very little of what we don't. You can catch the full review of this watch now live on wornandwound.com. If you enjoyed this review, please leave a like, share, and subscribe. Until next time.